Hey everybody, ronarray here, and temple situation in 0.4 League has been insane for the last 12 hours. GG already made 2 hotfixes and possibly would do even more. So this is a perfect time to talk about temple, all the changes and game direction in general. I also wanted to share my feedback and overall opinion about the situation too. I think it's very important to provide the feedback from the community, that's why I'm doing this video. Feel free to share your feedback in the comments too, it will be a very interesting read. Feel free to sub to the channel if you appreciate detailed history recaps like that one and more opinionated pieces as well. Let's go. So first off, a quick recap of events to share what happened, plus my opinion about the exact dates when GG actually had an opportunity to fix stuff and make things better. As you probably know, the temple is the main mechanic in 0.4 League, and initially it looked pretty unrewarding, so a lot of people ignored it early on. But some other people has been working on figuring out how to use it as a farm mechanic regardless. On top of that, on December 18, GG applied the patch 0.4c. This patch significantly buffed the temple and combined with new snake technique that where you were just building rooms in 1 or 2 big snakes around the temple to stack rooms together, which improved the rooms itself and provided more buffs and more loot. The original tech was created by Milky BK and was further applied and promoted by Fabgun, which made it a mainstream farming tech. Initially, people used a Holton location to stack crystals very fast, as well to avoid running maps and just to farm temple instead non-stop. All of that went mainstream around December 24, 6 days after initial patch. At this point, it was pretty obvious that the temple was significantly overbuffed. Good temples provided up to 60 to 100 divines per run, and even more divines per hour if you're building fast enough to run those temples. It was dropping a lot of tier 0 uniques too, such as Headhunter, which affected the market a lot. It was 5 times or even more profitable than any other farm in 0.4, and practically made all other farms completely obsolete at this point. Temple also was completely free and required only time to set it up, which was pretty tedious but still possible. In such situation, I believe GG needed to immediately step in and adjust temple loot to bring it closer to other farm mechanics and maintain the balance, avoid overfocus on the temple and maintain healthier economy. December 24 and December 25 was a perfect moment to deal with an issue before mainstream audience invested too much time in the temples. But nothing happened. That opportunity was completely lost and GG even buffed the temple slightly on December 22 with hotfix number 5. Instead of that, GG decided to focus on Holton way to generate crystals for the temple, which never was a real issue. On December 29, they made a hotfix number 10, which disabled Holton crystal generation and people just focus on quickly running maps instead. That decision was made very late, because people who started going into Holton early already created insane temples by just spamming Holton non-stop. Other people were left behind and felt left out at the moment because people been abusing Holton for more than 5 days. It also never addressed completely overbuffed loot in the temples, and allowed all of that to affect endgame economy tremendously because people who built the temple with the Holton had crazy amount of currency dropping for them. It also created some feeling of safety. Most of the players thought that GG was obviously aware of the temple situation and just wanted people to farm that currency in the temples, since hotfixes never touched core building mechanics or loot in the temples. It looked like GG wanted all of us to just farm temple and only temple, which would be a logical conclusion based on their actions. It was a strange decision on their part, but it only reinforced the idea that temple will stay untouched. All of that was reinforced further with hotfix 12. That hotfix buffed crystal generation and maps, making running tier 15 6 mod maps as effective as Holton was before, or even better. That decision been pretty logical because it kinda leveled the running field for both people who used Holton initially and people who never touched Holton at all. Much more people started investing time into the temples, and for some it was even fun. Loot was clearly overbuffed, but the building process was new, fresh and very cool, so people would definitely play the temple even for basic 15 to 20 divines an hour, which would align with other farm mechanics in the late game, just because temple itself was kinda fun. Now we are finally catching up to the real deal. On January 3, today, GG made a hotfix 13, which was a surprise for everyone and been a total disaster so far. First off, it added diminishing returns to the temple rewards, which is logical, but was long overdue at the moment. Temple loot has been insane for weeks and already changed and reshaped the economy, so nerfing loot right now has been a very strange decision because a lot of people already farmed too much currency by using the temple. If GG wanted to just nerf loot, why wait for so long and not nerf loot on December 24 instead, when the tech went mainstream? But it was only a start of the issues. Loot also wasn't nerfed enough. If you had a perfect or close to perfect temple, before the patch it was providing about 130 to 150 divines per run. And after the patch it became about 50 divines per run, which leads us to approximately 110 to 130 divines per hour, which is still tremendously overbuffed and much better than any other solo farm in 0.4. On top of that, GG also nerfed the main thing that was good about the temples, the building process, which most of the people liked. After the changes, you can't use locks to lock rooms that are not level 3 anymore, which making building new temples incredibly hard, if not downright impossible, in normal amount of time. So if you never finished your temples before or wanted a new one, you just can't get that anymore. But people who finished their temple kept it and can still farm those divines and can still run the temples non-stop, which is like times better than any other farm. GG also changed the chances for locked medallions to drop. You always need to lock your snakes before going in, and most of the temples needed at least 2 locks per run to avoid losing rooms. So even if you have the finished temple, but your rooms are not perfectly optimized, you might not drop enough locks to sustain the farm, and you will be locked out of your own temple, since you will be unable to run it due to destabilization. We ran into that issue yesterday on the stream with a few different temple setups. Those changes divided players even more, because right now only a tiny percent of players can keep running without facing a lock issue at the long run. Loot is indeed overbuffed and still can be nerfed a little further, but why even nerf the building process? If people liked and enjoy that, and you want us to build temples, I think GG should just nerf the loot so it will align with other farms, but keep the building tech as it was, so people who enjoyed the temple and just liked building it can just have fun. If loot will be balanced and just slightly better than other endgame farm, such as Overrun Abyss for example, it will not affect economy too much. But here comes a second hotfix number 14, so maybe it will fix everything. And nope. GG reduced the number of rooms destabilized when temple is closed, and GG is missing the idea that you can't maintain the temple with 60 specific rooms. By saying 60 rooms, they mean just random rooms, because you're getting random rooms every temple run, and you can't maintain specific rooms without locks. So that hotfix is practically not affecting current temples almost at all. The snake technique wasn't even intended? Alright, then why so long to address it? If GG never wanted us to build snakes at all, they could just tackle that at December 24 before everybody just spent days building temples with snake technique. And why did they also allow people with good enough temples who can sustain locks to keep farming if that technique is not intended? It really looks like GG at the moment tried to avoid making a hard decision early in December, but made the hard decision later anyway, while making the whole situation worse. So what to do now? I think the first solution would be significant buff for the building process, or even revert of the changes of it completely. Further nerf of the loot is still probably required to compensate, but almost everyone is fine with that. Second option is rebalancing temple completely, maybe with harder focus on Aziri or Architect farm, if they want us to just farm bosses instead of building snakes. Alright, making it more straightforward and rewarding, and we can just focus on farm bosses instead. It will still require buff for the bosses, and they will need to reset temples for everybody. This solution is pretty risky, but it could be good in the long run if the part of the vision is practically farming bosses instead. And that solution is also long overdue. If they wanted us to focus on bosses, they could just reinforce it back in December. So the third option is just focusing on the current decisions, but in that case, they will need to reset temple for everybody. Maybe lowering it to 60 rooms instead of total wipeout. Otherwise, people who still get enough locks will keep farming it and the disbalance will be even worse. I think that if GG want to maintain the vision, and snake building was never intended, going for option 2 is the best scenario. Otherwise, I would probably prefer option 1 myself. There's also option 4, when they will just do something completely unexpected, or even do nothing. So I'm looking forward to this situation unraveling while providing my own feedback. One thing is pretty clear for me: balancing games is really hard, and GG need to focus on making hard decisions faster, because stretching that time out will only lead to player disappointments, economy changes, and other not good consequences in general. What do you guys think about all of that? Let me know in the comments, and hope all our feedback will help GG to pick the best possible solution, and we will have better balancing in the new patches 0.5 and going forward too. Thank you very much for watching, and ronarray out.